It's April 29, 2022. CCTV footage captures prison supervisor Vicky slipping through a back door. Barely 30 seconds later, she emerges again, this time with Casey White, a towering 6 feet 9 inches inmate serving 75 years for attempted murder. Within moments, they vanish into a waiting car, leaving police scrambling to piece together the chaos. Vicky, a seasoned prison supervisor with a flawless 20-year record, had just disappeared alongside one of the most dangerous criminals in the system. At first, investigators assumed she had been coerced or manipulated into aiding the escape, but as new evidence surfaced, a darker truth began to emerge. This might have been a meticulously planned operation from the start. What began as a nationwide manhunt soon spiraled into a labyrinth of shocking discoveries, ultimately leading authorities down a chilling path, one that ended with Vicky found dead, a bullet in her head.
I'm gonna go for the gun first. Okay, I'm gonna go for the gun.
It's April 29, 2022. Prison officer Vicky tells her colleagues she's taking a prisoner to a psychological evaluation at a local courthouse, but something feels off. She's transporting the inmate alone, despite strict rules requiring 2 officers for every prisoner escort. No one dares stop her. Her seniority as a supervisor grants her unchecked authority. By the time 6 hours pass, the grim truth hits: Vicky and the prisoner haven't returned. Desperate for leads, police begin investigating the man she vanished with, Casey White, a violent offender serving 75 years for domestic violence, home invasion murder, and a brutal axe attack. But one crime in his history sends a shiver through investigators. 7 years earlier, Casey had manipulated and terrorized his girlfriend to the point that she attempted to flee his wrath. After reaching a friend's house for safety, Casey broke in armed with 2 guns, determined to kill them both. Miraculously, they survived. That night marked the beginning of a horrifying spree. Casey fled, leaving chaos in his wake, committing a series of carjackings across multiple states before finally ending in a tense, high-stakes standoff with law enforcement.
Casey, put the gun down. Let me see your hands, man. Put the gun down, Casey. Put the gun down, bud. Hey, put the gun down. Just relax a little bit.
Kobe is that or tell her to watch this.
Hey, Casey.
Yes, sir.
I will get you a sundrop if you'll be still. Just be calm.
You ain't got no more gun on you, dude.
No, you ain't got.
You got that pocket knife.
In an almost unbelievable move, the officers slid a drink and a pack of cigarettes toward Casey, a desperate gamble to keep him calm and prevent a deadly shootout. Against all odds, it worked. What came next was his interrogation revealed the full depth of his madness, giving law enforcement a chilling glimpse into just how dangerous and unpredictable this man truly was.
I've been trying to wait just to kill her ever since. I couldn't wait no longer. I had to do it tonight.
Do you regret what you did tonight?
I regret I didn't kill him.
Police finally had a clear picture of the man Vicky had just helped escape, but where did she fit into this nightmare? Vicky worked at a completely different prison, and Casey was never supposed to see the outside world again. That changed a year earlier, when Casey confessed to a murder, a chilling cold case involving a 4-year-old. The confession shocked authorities. He described details only the killer could know, and after a brief trial, he was moved to a new prison, the same one where Vicky worked. Vicky, 56, divorced for years, had poured her life into her job. On paper, she had stability and respect, but her life had grown dull and lonely. When Casey arrived, everything changed. Slowly, they began talking, bonding over shared names, shared lives, and a dangerous connection neither could ignore. Vicky began coming in on her days off, laughing more, visibly happier despite the monotony of her world. Enchanted by him, she was willing to throw it all away for a man society deemed a monster. She granted him access no prisoner should have, wandering areas beyond surveillance, forming a plan, and an intimacy that would cost her everything. 3 days before the escape, they tested it. Casey had a court appointment that didn't exist. For 9 minutes, they sat in her patrol car, alone, rehearsing the impossible. 2 days later, cameras caught them exchanging notes, likely the final blueprint. By the time authorities discovered the footage, it was already too late. April 29, 2022, everything was in place. Vicky, leveraging her seniority, had orchestrated the perfect setup. 12 inmates and 5 deputies were sent to court, leaving her alone with transport privileges. She told her bosses that Casey needed a mental health evaluation. Surveillance footage shows her carrying a firearm inside the prison, a strict violation, and walking ahead of Casey, trusting him implicitly, knowing he could harm her at any moment. In a single, pivotal instant, esteemed prison officer Vicky crossed the line. Everything she had built, every rule she had upheld, vanished. In that moment, she became a criminal, and history would never forget her choice.
Vicky's always been a good girl. I went to school. It's got to be other people involved, and Vicky's just a scapegoat. You knew her, you loved her. She was that type of person.
I feel like if she had anything to do with it, it was definitely love.
Vicky and Casey strolled out of the prison as if it were any other day, slipped into a patrol car, and vanished toward freedom. 6 hours would pass before anyone even realized they were gone. When the prison called the courthouse to check on Casey's supposed appointment, they were met with a chilling truth: there was no appointment. Panic set in as authorities grasped what had happened. Casey had broken free, and Vicky had helped him escape. They ditched the patrol car and fled the state, leaving law enforcement scrambling. With no leads, no direction, and no idea how to track them, the nation braced for an 11-day manhunt unlike any other. Detectives rushed to Vicky's home, only to find she had vanished completely. The house was no longer hers. She had sold it for a pittance, using the cash to buy vehicles, firearms, and, most intriguingly, men's clothing. It was the first clue that Vicky didn't plan to return. She was ready to vanish entirely and start a new life with Casey. Worse still, the patrol car they had used was found abandoned at a local shopping mall. Surveillance cameras didn't cover the lot, leaving police blind to the direction the fugitives had taken. By day 2, a tip from Vicky's family ripped the case wide open. Authorities discovered she had been renting a storage unit, paid for with a burner phone. Tracking the number yielded nothing, but the discovery of the unit confirmed what detectives had feared: Vicky had planned this escape meticulously, and she had done so willingly. She was no victim, she was a conspirator.
You get the sense they were actually discovered. He was not forcing her in any way. Right, no, he was not forcing her. It was a mutual relationship.
Just when the police thought they were gaining ground, the investigation took an even stranger and more confounding turn. Returning to the shopping mall where the abandoned patrol car had been found, officers began combing through surveillance footage from the days leading up to the escape. That's when they spotted Vicky, just a few days before the breakout, parking a car in a nearby lot. But this wasn't her usual vehicle. It was a 2007 Ford Edge she had purchased mere days earlier. Detectives immediately suspected it was their getaway car. When police returned to the lot, the car was still there. A decoy. Vicky had left it behind, throwing the investigators off completely. Still, the cops didn't give up. A breakthrough came quickly. A nearby homeowner reported selling his Ford F-150 pickup to a man matching Casey White's description, the towering 6 feet 9 inches figure from the wanted posters, on the very day Vicky and Casey disappeared. It seemed simple enough: find the truck, end the manhunt. But the trail was far from straightforward. By day 6, another tip surfaced from an Indiana car wash owner, who noticed a Ford F-150 sitting in one of the cleaning bays far longer than any normal customer would leave it. Something felt off. The truck was too pristine to be abandoned by anyone sane, and the owner's instincts told him trouble was brewing. Checking the car wash's surveillance footage, he caught sight of a chilling scene: Casey emerging from the pickup, behaving oddly, as if waiting for someone. Then Vicky appeared, behind the wheel of another car, driving just out of frame. Casey climbed into her vehicle, abandoning the F-150, and they drove off together. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the car wash owner immediately called 911.
The truck been sitting in my bay since yesterday at 3 o'clock. I looked at my cameras and the guy's kind of suspicious. It's a Ford F-150 four-door truck. It's blue in color. It's got Tennessee license plates on it. And I've got him on camera.
The very next day, law enforcement descended on the car wash, combing every inch of the abandoned Ford F-150.
Is it returns to a Dodge?
Yet, despite their efforts, the search yielded nothing: no fingerprints, no evidence, no trace of Vicky or Casey. It was day 10 of the nationwide manhunt, and tension was at a breaking point. The cops were scheduled to arrive at the car wash by 9 a.m., but when they failed to show, frustration boiled over. The car wash owner, unable to wait any longer, decided to take matters into his own hands, calling the local press to draw attention to the escaped criminals now so dangerously close.
So then, 9:30, they're not here. So I said, I get on the phone to Fox News. I said, y'all want a story? Yeah, we like a story. I said, I got one. So I got a convict over at my car wash. I got him on camera. He said, you talking about the one in Kentucky? I said, no, I'm talking about the one in Alabama with the girl. I said, okay, we'll be right there. They showed up. They got there 10 minutes before the marshals.
Amid a media frenzy, U.S. Marshals pored over the surveillance footage, and what they saw made their hearts race. A Cadillac, possibly the one Vicky and Casey were still driving, a car they believed nobody could trace. For the cops, it felt like their days on the run were finally numbered, yet even with these leads, nothing panned out. The fugitives could be anywhere in the country, or so they thought. Back in Evansville on the 11th, a weary cop driving home after a long shift spotted a familiar-looking vehicle parked outside Motel 41. It matched the Cadillac seen at the car wash. Heart pounding, he jotted down the license plate. The problem? The Cadillac's plate from the car wash had never been seen, so they had no confirmation that it was the same car. But the F-150's plate was known, and, grasping at straws, the officers ran it through their license plate reader. And then, like a bolt of lightning, everything clicked. Multiple traffic cameras had captured the F-150, and in nearly every shot, a Cadillac was right behind it. A Cadillac whose license plate perfectly matched the one parked outside Motel 41. By sheer luck, the fugitive trail was finally lit. Deputy marshals moved into position around the motel, plainclothed and in unmarked vehicles, hoping to keep their approach covert. Inside room 115, Vicky and Casey sat watching TV, oblivious to how close the law was. Just as the news broke about the Ford F-150, the plan was to bring them in quietly, but before the deputies could act, Vicky calmly stepped out of the room and tossed a bag into the Cadillac. Casey followed, his enormous frame impossible to miss even in disguise. He climbed behind the wheel, and the Cadillac roared to life. The lawmen's plan was obliterated in an instant, but they had a backup. They would follow and try to box them in, avoiding a confrontation. Then, in a heartbeat, everything changed. They had been spotted. Casey floored the accelerator, barreling onto US Highway 41, weaving through traffic, and tearing across parking lots. With a daring maneuver, he finally drove straight through an open field, breaking free from the immediate pursuit. And just as chaos reached its peak, police dispatch received a call from Vicky herself, confirming, in the most terrifying way possible, that this chase had only just begun.
Hello? Airbags are going on. Let's get out and run. Get us back to the hotel.
A police cruiser maneuvers with precision, forcing Casey's Cadillac to swerve violently, and in a heart-stopping instant the vehicle barrels straight into a ditch. But this is no victory for law enforcement. They know all too well that Casey and Vicky are armed, unpredictable, and desperate.
Where's he at? Please, check him out. Please, my wife. That's the best woman in the world right there. Please, that's the best woman in the world. Vicky, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry, baby. Anybody in this world don't deserve it. She don't. When she's herself, it hit me. But y'all ain't gonna believe me. I'm gonna say I killed her. Just like y'all say I killed everybody else.
After 11 relentless days, the nationwide manhunt finally comes to a tense conclusion. Casey is taken into custody, unharmed but shackled, his reign of terror temporarily halted. Vicky, however, meets a far grimmer fate. Just 2 weeks ago, she was a respected prison officer, admired by colleagues and trusted by her community. Now, she lies wounded and battered in the back of a stolen car.
Alright. Big David, she grabbed me. No, still got it in her hand. Yes, gotta get her. Medic right here, medic. Oh, you got it. Get back. Yes. Try to break this center up here. Well, I think we can get See if it'll open. Good idea. We got cover? Yeah. It's opening. It's opening. You got me? Yep. You want to go for the gun first? All right, pull me out. All right, I got it.
She had been shot in the head, and Casey coldly claimed it was suicide. But when investigators got a closer look, they found her finger still curled around the trigger. Later that day, Vicky was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. What their plans might have been, whether they dreamed of vanishing off the grid or spending the rest of their lives on the run, will never be known. In truth, Casey had no intention of keeping her alive. He described Vicky as a liability, someone unfit for the kind of life they had tried to carve out. It's chillingly likely that, even if she had survived the escape, Casey would have abandoned her, or worse, killed her himself. Convicted of first-degree prison escape and sentenced to life behind bars, Casey will be 98 before he's eligible for parole, ensuring that this dangerous man will remain off the streets for the rest of his life.